Hello guys, and welcome to another video. So I'm recording a series of videos on how to understand better all the benefits that comes with the mixed reality toolkit, and today we are going to talk about buttons. Yes sir, the main thing you need to know in order to create your application. So we are going to cover buttons, all the different buttons that come with MRTK, and how to edit and all the functionality that comes with them. No more to say, let's begin. For today's video, we will use the same project that we have been using for the last couple of videos. What do I have in here? I have a buttons scene. I named it, but I'm going to start from scratch. So I'm going to add to scene and configure the MRTK. That's assigning from scratch. Let's make sure that XR SDK profile is selected. And I also have R2 in here, just because I want to keep on having the same experience that we did on the last videos, but we are not going to use R2 on this video. So in order to understand all the buttons that comes with MRTK, as you saw on the last video, we installed, let me come to my feature tool for Unity, and let's see which one are the things that we need to install in order to have what I'm going to show, which is the toolbox panel. Okay, so once all the features are downloaded in here, we need to have in our project the Foundation 254 in this situation, and then we need to have the tools 254 also assigned to our project. If you want to know how to install it, remember I have another video in my channel on how to use the mixed reality feature tool that will guide you with that. So in here I already have the tools and the foundations installed. And what does the tools brings me to my project? So if we click on Mixed Reality Toolkit, you will see the toolbox option in here. So once you click it, you will see in the right, or maybe it can download in the middle of your project, you will see the MRTK toolbox in here. So this panel will show you all the different components that come and you can reuse with MRTK. So the ones that we are going to be focusing today, it's in the bottom. So we will work on videos in the following weeks with the other ones, but we are going to cover the buttons for today. As you can see, you have in here the HoloLens 2 buttons, the HoloLens 2 toggle button, the HoloLens 2 button with different size. This is smaller than this one. You also have this one which is a little bit bigger, and you have this one which is different size. In this case we have a circular bottom, in this case the same circular but bigger, and we also have checkbox, HoloLens 2 checkbox, HoloLens 2 radio button. You have the HoloLens 2 switch button. You have the checkbox button with a little bit more different size, and you have also the radio button with a different size, also the switch. Then you have a generic checkbox, and you have a generic radio set and a generic toggle switch. And finally, you have two buttons that are the style that were used in HoloLens 1. So these are all the buttons that we will cover today. By understanding why one of them, you will see that it gets easier to understand the others. But let's begin with the first one. As you saw on another video that I recorded, the only thing in order to drag and drop the buttons from here to our scene is just by pressing the option that we want to download. Once I clicked on the HoloLens 2 button 32x32, you can see that it's been added to my scene, and you can see it on top of the scene. If I scroll away from the button, and let's see that from the top, you will see that it's far away from R2, and in our game we won't see the button, and that's why the button, as you know, all the elements or all the game objects are loading right on top of our camera. So if you move this a little bit on front of us, you will see that now the button will appear. So I will double click it and let's see what we did. So we move it to 0.16 in seat. I will move it to 0.2. And we're going to do the same with the rest of the buttons that we have in here. So I will start clicking on them, but first I will move this away. So I will put this a little bit so we can see them all, and I will click on this one. And you need to, let's put that on a 0.2. There. So let's see, the other one is minus 0.5, 0.5 and 0.2. I would put this one at, leave that way, so it goes. It's 0.5, that's why we don't see it. There we are. And let's keep on dragging the other ones. I will start by grabbing the first one, which is the most common button that we have. Add one. So this is the pressable button. Pressable button, HoloLens 2. And what do we have in here? So we have already as part of our game object, we have a box collider, which is basically assigned for the front plane. So if I move it up, you will see that this is creating a three-dimensional box, which is for, as we said, for the front plane's bottom. Then we have in here we have the pressable button HoloLens 2 script, which basically is the logic for the button movement with hand press interaction. Then we have the physical press event router. So this script sends event from hand press interaction to interactable, which we have in here. We saw in another video all the parts of interactable. Go check out that video if you want to understand better this one. But as you know, this one handles various types of interaction states and events. So like gaze, gesture and voice input directly handled by this script. Then we have the audio source, which is basically a Unity audio source for the audio feedback clips. And we also have the near interaction touchable script, which requires to make any object touchable with articulated hand input, which is what we are going to be using. And then we have the button configuration helper, which basically assigns, as you can see, different style and different items to our button. So which one are the ones that we will cover in this video? We will cover the pressable button, we will cover the physical press event router, and we will cover the button configuration helper. You will see the near interaction touchable and the interactable in the other videos that you will see on my channel, so I won't get deep on those ones. So in order to understand all of the buttons, we first will take in consideration one of them. So we will grab the pressable button HoloLens 2 and try to understand each one of the scripts assigned to it, each one of the components that are part of that button. And we will try to edit it so you guys can see how you can edit them yourselves. So if you open this pressable button, which is the one that you are seeing over here, you can see that it has a group of elements on it, of different game objects assigned to it. So I will put them invisible so we can see each one of them. And we will start by the using and explaining the button contents. As you can see, it doesn't have absolutely anything, and this is because this is going to be used when we create the animation of actually touching our 3D button. So we will see it in a moment when we're going to use this game object. The other one we have in here is a group, which, because it has another element inside of it, is the compressible button visuals. If we enable it, this one, it's again, you cannot see anything, but actually this contains what we call the front plane. As you can see in here, you will have the front plane and the highlight plane. What are these items? So if we see this from top, we can see that the highlight plane is actually a plane that's going to be highlighted once the user touches the button. And what happens with the front plane? The front plane, as you can see, it gives us like the depth or the profundity of the button. If we see this again from top, but from the other side, we can see this is the highlight plane, and we have in here the front plane. Okay. Then we have the Said label. If we enable it, we will discover that in here we have elements that one is a text that says the phrase save button. This is going to help us to communicate with our button. Basically, if we start using speech commands and say to our button, please say button, the button will be pressed. But in here we can say, for example, say test. This one is going to be our test button. And then we have, also as part of this label, we have a quad that this one has a material assigned to it that is called the holographic back plane, which is that one, the blue with gray border that you are seeing over there is this one. You could assign another one if you have a design you like, for example, this one, this wood, or this blue. If you create your own material, you can assign a material, but there is one important thing about the Said label. This label is controlled by, the visibility of this label is controlled by Interactable's theme. By default, it doesn't, it is not enabled, so you won't see it when you launch your scene, but we will understand later. We will make a test on how to control the speech command of the button. So this will help us, or help the user to understand which one is the command that will make him press the button with just talking to him. Then we have the back plane. I will enable it, and you can see the back plane is the same color that the label, that the say label. Let's see what we have on top of it, and we have a quad that has exactly the same material assigned to it. Okay, but we could assign any materials that we want. In my case, I think I have some materials. I created one, button pink. I created a pink one because I just wanted to show you the difference, guys. This is a simple materials that I created with a pink background, a small different color at the border, and that's it. You could put whatever you want in here. And then we have the icon and text. If we enable this, we can see the icon and the text that we have. So we have this one, that is the text that you can see in there, and we have the button, also the material assigned to our icon. And if you do the same like I did, that you have to search the material, that's going to be a lot of work, which is why the MRTK team decided to your main button give the possibility to edit this in an easy way. And how is that easy way? It's by using this script, which is the button configuration helper. This script is already assigned when you drag and drop a button from the toolbox. This help you see what you're editing, so see it much easier. So in here you have the main label text. So remember, this was our test button, and you see how easy it is to change the text that is in your bottom. You can also check this out. I changed it in the game object of the text, but it is also updating here. And you could start testing how to edit it in here, and it will happen exactly the same. You don't need to get in deep into each one of the components of the bottom. You can edit everything from here. You also have some basic events, in this case the on click, to assign to it, but we are not going to use it because we are going to use another script. And you have the icons. So in here you have the quad, you have the sprites, you could create your own collection of icons if you want to use different ones. In this case, for example, I will select the star, and you could pick any of these ones, or you could create your own, and you could add them in here as a set of icons, and you could use them in your own buttons on your applications. Let's now understand how the voice command works. So remember, we have the set label in here. Basically, the set label interacts directly with the mixed reality speech handler, and he does that using the interactable script. We saw this in another video, but we didn't get in deep in the speech command that you are seeing in here. Right now, the speech command is assigned to select. Basically, if I set the word select, then the button will be fired if I enable the profile to understand that keyword. But right now, we have only these 4 keywords, and we don't want the button to be fired every time we say select. So we need to add another keyword to our profile. And how do we do this? So we go to our Mixed Reality Toolkit profile, and we have in here the default XR SDK profile assigned. And we could clone it in order to, or copy and customize, in order to be able to get into, let me grab this one, to edit the input area. The one that we want to grab is the speech. If you can see in here, it has the menu, the select, and the toggle that you are seeing on the interactable script. So let's do this, and let's clone the profile until we have the possibility to edit the input speech. So I will clone it, this one. I will leave every single one of the profiles with the name as default. You can change the name in here in case you want to do it. I won't do it, but you could put the name you want. So now I cloned the main profile. Now I need to clone the input profile. And inside the input profile, I need to clone the speech profile. Great, so I cloned the 3 areas that are needed in order for me to add another keyword to our speech command. So I press the add a new speech command, and in here I will add the keyword test, because that's why I indicated the user that needs to say in order to press the button. And in here I have the action. I want the button to fire once it is selected. You could call whatever is the action you want to do it. I will leave it in select. So if we come to our button and we come to our speech command, now you will see in here the keyword that you just added. So that's the keyword I want the button to recognize. Now you can configure when the pressable button fires the on-click event via the physical press event router that you have in here. So for example, you can set in here the on-click to fire when the button is first pressed, or as opposed to being pressed and released, or by setting interactable on-click to event on press. Right now I will leave it as default. And then we also have the other script that is one of the most important, which is the pressable button HoloLens 2. So if you want to leverage specific articulated hand input state information, you can use pressable button events. Touch begin in this case, or touch end, button press or button released. These events will not fire in response to AirTab, hand ray, or eye inputs, however. So to support both near and far interaction, it is recommended to use interactable on-click event. So the other thing that you can see on the pressable button HoloLens 2 script is the one, first of all, the moving button visuals, which one is the one that's going to make the effect of being pressed, which in here, remember that I told you guys that this was going to be used later. So in here we have the button content game object assigned. So then we have the press settings, which are the distance. We want the plane to be calculated, so you can be the world or the local. I will leave it local as default. Then we have the start push distance, the max push distance, the press distance, the speed of return, and the release on touch, and then force front push. You also can see in here that we have some information. For example, this one is the icon that is moving inside the button. It is the icon and text, which is this one. The entire group is assigned to that property. Then we have the compressible button. This is the one that actually makes the animation in the Z axis. So it's the compressible button, which is, remember, the front plane. That's what is assigned in here. We also have the minimum compress percentage and the highlight plane, which is the plane that's going to be highlighted. Remember that we had that inside our compressible button. It was the highlight plane. So that's the one that's the mesh that's going to be highlighted. And the amount of animation that is going to be highlighted too. Great. So those are the important things you need to know. So what are the elements assigned to our pressable button? So we just saw the button configuration helper, we just saw the pressable button HoloLens 2, the physical press event router. Then we have the near interaction touchable, which we already covered in another video, the audio source, the box collider, and the interactable. And what happens if I want to change the width of this button, for example? There are some considerations that you need to take care. First of all, the items that you need to edit in order, if you want to make it wider, are the front plane. Let's say I want to make it a 5, so this would be a 5. Then I didn't edit the size of the y-axis or the z. The other thing that you need to edit is the quad of the back bottom, so I will put it as a 5. And the other thing is the box collider that grabs the entire bottom there. And one last thing is you need to fix the bounds of the near interaction touchable. So by doing all the things, you can see that it already changed. You will be able to change the width of the button that you are creating. We made it a little bit wider. One last thing that our button has is sound. And we have sound already assigned to the button by default because we have the audio source component assigned to it. And inside the pressable button HoloLens 2, you can see that when the button is pressed, we are attaching a sound that is MRTK button press, and we are attaching when it is released the unpressed sound. So if you have also your own sounds you want to use, you could just drag and drop the music in here, and you will use that sound for your own button. So now that we understand how our button is made, we will see that most of all the other buttons that comes with MRTK, in this case the toggle one, or this one that has the circular, or the checkbox, or the radio, are pretty much similar to the first one that we saw. So in the case of the toggle, you will see that, let's try to see here, it has the same components assigned to it. It has the box collider, the pressable, the physical, the interactable audio, near interaction, and the button configuration. Again, we could come in here, change I will try to test 2. Again, we already did it with the other button, but you can edit exactly the same things. But what's the difference between this one and the other one? This has a state in here that you will see it in the icon in here that are to this UI button chart icon and UI button script icon that are disabled. And you also have the back plane toggle. You will see it better with this one. So if I click on this one and I enable it, you can see that it has a different design. So this is managed by the configuration. So this is the difference between this one and the other one. Then we can check on the circular. So in this case, the back plane, let's double click on it. The back plane has another material assigned to it. That the only thing that has it is a PNG material created with a circle, so that's why you see the circle instead of the square. Now what's up with the checkbox and the radio button? So let's see the checkbox. The radio button works exactly the same than the checkbox. So in here we also have some components that are disabled. So we have this sprite icon, this chart icon, the toggle button, toggle icon, sorry. That if you enable it, you can see which one is the effect that it has. And it also has the back plane toggle that you saw on the second button that we showed. The same with the radio. So in the radio you also have the toggle that it lets you understand when it's on or it's off. And the switch, which is this one that is on and off, it happens exactly the same. As you can see, guys, they all have the same components assigned to them. And the only thing comes in the toggle buttons that are switched on or off. And what's up with the other two elements that we added? This one, the checkbox, and the toggle switch that we added in here. So these ones are not part of the HoloLens 2 buttons that are being launched with MRTK. This one also have the pressable button and the near interaction touchable and the interactable, which the pressable buttons belongs to HoloLens 1. So you can come in here and see some of the properties that you can see. They are not that different, but the configuration is a little bit different. The other thing is that this one doesn't have the same components that we can see on the other buttons. This only one has the button content, the label, the background of the checkbox, the button, the arrow in case you want to change it to switch it on and off, and that's it for the component checkbox. And the one that belongs to the toggle switch, exactly the same. Now if we want to interact with R2 and the buttons that we have in here, we need to create a script. Once we create a script and we have events that are attached to our script, we could assign those events to our button present here. Like in here, it is the pressable button, and it is assigned the press event router, and it's on press triggered and nothing else. We could assign anything that we want in here, or we could use, in case that we need, the events that are coming here with the interactable. We didn't do that much changes in our project, but I wanted just to edit the button so you can see how easy it is. And we will port this to our Oculus and see how each one of the buttons looks. But in our next video, we will see how we can work with different buttons that come with MRTK. For example, the button collections or the near menus, that if you needed to understand how a button works before we get in depth into this type of components. So guys, let's see how it runs on Oculus. Hope you guys enjoyed. I really find it fascinating how easy it is to work with buttons and the Mixed Reality Toolkit. Remember, this is a cross-platform toolkit, so you can develop for any platform. We just tested our application in Oculus because that's the device that I have right now, but we could port that application, the same one, to different devices like your Android phone or your iOS phone. So no need to worry, this is absolutely cross-platform. Okay, hope you guys enjoyed. If you did it, you know what to do, and also subscribe to my channel if you want to know more in the future about the videos that are coming in the following weeks. Hope you guys enjoyed, and see you next week.